You wake up the morning after a brutal loss, and yeah, everything feels heavy. The fan base is frustrated, the media is pointing fingers, and the locker room? Well, they're either rallying or splintering. But here's the thing, and I know some people aren't going to want to hear this. The Bears season is not over. Not yet. It might feel like it is. It might look like it on the scoreboard. But football seasons aren't decided by how you start. They're defined by how you respond when you get punched in the mouth. Let's be real. Sunday was ugly. That was a full-blown embarrassment. You walked into a game and got absolutely steamrolled. There's no way to sugarcoat it. But just because you got humbled on national television doesn't mean it's time to pack it in. The NFC North isn't exactly a death trap right now. The Lions and Packers might be a step ahead, sure. But Minnesota? That's a beatable team. We saw it in Week 1, and we saw it again on Thursday night. That team is not invincible. That team is not miles ahead of the Bears, and that's part of what makes this so frustrating. That loss in Week 1 could come back to haunt you. If Chicago finds a way to right the ship and stack up some wins in the coming weeks, that one slip-up could be the thing standing between them and relevance in December. It stings even more because they were right there, up by 2 scores, momentum on their side, and then the collapse. But here's the deal. It's done. It's in the past. You flush it and you move on. Because right now, it's about the next 2 games. That's the window. That's the pivot point. First, you've got Dallas. Then you got the Raiders. And then you get a bye week. And I'm not saying it's likely, but if you somehow, some way, pull out wins in both of those games, suddenly the season has a completely different tone. You'd be sitting at 2-2 heading into the break. You take a breath. You reassess. Maybe you get healthier. Maybe some of those injured starters find their way back. And just maybe you start to build some consistency. Start to put together 4 quarters. Start to figure out who you are. But it all starts with Dallas. If this season has any chance of becoming something, it begins right there. That's the must-win. That's the turn-the-ship moment. And yeah, I get it. The Cowboys' defense is no joke, on paper at least. But go look at the tape. Russell Wilson just lit up that same defense for over 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. And that's not even vintage Russ. That's the comeback version. The version everyone left for dead. And he cooked them. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say Caleb Williams is going to put up identical numbers. I'm not expecting him to go nuclear. But the truth is, this Dallas defense is beatable. Their personnel doesn't scare me the way it has in years past. You can move the ball on them. You can score. The bigger question is, will the Bears capitalize when the chances are there? Will they stop beating themselves? And man, I gotta be honest, losing to Matt Eberflus this weekend would be absolutely crushing. That might be rock bottom. This is the guy the entire fan base wanted gone. The guy players reportedly had issues with. The guy the locker room needed a change from. If he comes into Soldier Field and outcoaches this team, if he walks away with a win, that's going to be a tough pill to swallow. Because like it or not, that sends a message. You better believe the Bears players should be fired up for this one. They should be motivated to prove that moving on from Eberflus was the right call. And no, I don't have anything personal against the guy. He might be a good coach elsewhere, but that doesn't matter right now. You want a fresh start? Prove it. Put your foot down and show it. If you don't beat him, the noise is only going to get louder, and the questions only more uncomfortable. This week is about more than just chasing win number 1. It's about pride. It's about direction. It's about avoiding a spiral that's already threatening to start. Beat Flus. Beat Dallas. Get the season back on track. And if you're looking for things that need to change immediately, look no further than the defense. Because let's be honest, the last 5 quarters have been a disaster. 73 points allowed, dating back to that final frame against Minnesota. That's not just a breakdown. That's a full-blown collapse. And it's happening in multiple ways. Missed tackles. No pass rush. Coverage busts. No answers. Now, part of that is injury. Jalen Johnson aggravated his groin again. I'd be surprised if he plays before the bye week. Same with TJ Edwards and his hamstring. Kyler Gordon hasn't played a snap yet this year. You're talking about 3 of your best defensive players either out or banged up. That matters. That impacts what you can do schematically. But even with all that said, you can't be this soft. You can't be this passive. Dennis Allen has to start getting creative. The front 4 is not getting home. Sweat has been invisible outside of a sack that got wiped by a penalty. Deo has flashed but disappeared when it counts. If your guys aren't winning matchups, then dial up the heat. Go blitz zero. Roll the dice. Force something. Yeah, you might get burned, but at least you're not just standing there waiting to get picked apart. At least you're dictating terms instead of sitting back and hoping for the best. And on offense, let's talk about the run game. Or better yet, the lack of it. Through 2 weeks, it's been mostly ineffective. DeAndre Swift has shown flashes. He's had some decent gains, but he's also fumbled, and there's been no real commitment to establishing the ground game. You said all offseason you were going to be physical. You said you were going to protect your young quarterback with a strong run game. So where is it? Kamenengai barely touched the ball until garbage time. You drafted him for a reason. Give him a real shot. And if you don't believe in your current rotation, then go get someone. It might be too late to find a bell cow, but you have to try something. Because right now, your run efficiency is among the worst in the league. And that matters. It really does. Because if your defense is banged up and bleeding points, and your passing game isn't quite ready to carry the load, then ball control becomes your lifeline. You have to shorten games. You have to limit possessions. You have to play smarter, even if it's not flashy. And Caleb? Look, I actually thought he looked better this week. He was more decisive. He looked comfortable at times. That interception, yeah, it was a bad decision. Forced it instead of throwing it away, but that's a rookie mistake. He'll learn from it. The reality is he was 14 of 19 in the second half. That's progress. That's something to build on. And if you actually look at the advanced data, the one area the Bears were solid in this week was the passing game. It wasn't perfect, but it was trending the right way. What continues to kill this team is the mental stuff, the avoidable stuff, the penalties, the false starts, the holding calls, the illegal shifts. It's all adding up. 20 penalties in 2 games. That's 20 times you've put yourself behind the sticks. 20 times you've taken points off the board or extended drives for the other team. And you're not good enough right now to survive that kind of self-sabotage. DeAndre Swift falls starting on the first play of the second half? That cannot happen. That's the kind of moment that tells you this team is not locked in. You literally spend halftime deciding what the opening play will be, and then your running back jumps early. It's just a microcosm of everything that's wrong. It's not just the lack of execution. It's the lack of focus, the lack of detail. And that's the stuff that separates average teams from playoff teams. Or in this case, that separates winless from competitive. And that brings us right back to week 1. You had a team on the ropes. Minnesota was sputtering. J.J. McCarthy was all over the place. You were up by double digits. You had the ball. You had a chance to bury them. And you didn't. And because of that, you're now staring at 0 wins through 2 games. You win that game, you're 1-1. You've split the divisional matchups. You can live with that. But you didn't finish. You let it slip. And that's what bad teams do. That's the harsh truth. Right now, this is a team that doesn't know how to win. They don't know how to close. They don't know how to maintain composure when the pressure rises. And the only way to change that is to actually do it. To get over the hump. To break through. Because if you don't, then you're not just losing games. You're building a losing culture. A mentality. And once that sets in, it's hard to shake. All right, so we've talked about the urgency. We've talked about Dallas being the make-or-break moment. But if we're really going to explore whether the Bears can flip the script on this season, we have to go even deeper. Because this isn't just about effort. It's not just about motivation or locker room speeches. It's about cleaning up the parts of the game that are dragging this team underwater. It's about playing cleaner, smarter football. It's about eliminating the things that have absolutely nothing to do with talent. The things that are totally within your control. Let's start right there. Discipline. Because what we saw over the past 2 weeks wasn't just sloppy, it was damaging. You've got a team that is still trying to figure out its identity, still trying to learn how to play together, and yet you're shooting yourself in the foot over and over. 20 penalties through 2 games? That's not just high. That's near the bottom of the entire league. That's the kind of stat that tells you everything you need to know about where this team is mentally. It's not locked in. It's not focused. And the worst part is, most of these penalties are happening pre-snap. False starts, illegal formations, delay of game. Those are avoidable. That's about preparation. That's about attention to detail. You can't expect to compete in this league when you're constantly putting yourself in 2nd and 20 or 3rd and 30 situations. You're not good enough to overcome that kind of inefficiency. Most teams aren't, but especially not this group. Not yet. The Bears have a young quarterback, a banged-up defense, and a coaching staff still figuring out its own rhythm. The last thing they can afford is to make the game harder than it already is. And yet, that's what they've done, repeatedly. It's not about being perfect. No team is, but it is about progress. And when the same mistakes keep showing up week after week, that's not progress. That's a pattern, and it has to stop. Now, let's talk about Caleb Williams. Because, yeah, there's a lot of noise already. People calling for Tyson Bagent. People overanalyzing every throw. That's the nature of the position. And especially when you're the number 1 overall pick, expectations are through the roof. But if you're watching the games closely, you're seeing something develop. Slowly, yes, but it's happening. Caleb is learning. He's processing faster. He's making adjustments. No, he hasn't been lights out. But he hasn't been the problem either. Look at Sunday. He started off shaky, no doubt. But then he settled in. He went 14 for 19 in the second half. That's not just efficient, that's composed. That's a rookie quarterback responding to adversity. And yes, the interception was bad. He forced it instead of throwing away. But let's not pretend he's the only rookie to make that kind of mistake. It happens. The more important question is, does he learn from it? Does he bounce back the next series? And from what we've seen so far, the answer is yes. And here's the kicker. When you break down the tape and you analyze the advanced data, the one area where the Bears actually showed signs of life against Detroit was the passing game. Not the defense, not special teams, not the run game, the passing game. That's your rookie quarterback operating behind a shaky offensive line, with a running game that isn't helping and still finding a rhythm. That should be encouraging. That's something to build on. And it's something the coaching staff has to lean into. You don't have to turn Caleb loose and ask him to throw 50 times a game, but you do have to trust him in key moments. You do have to give him the opportunity to lead. Because the only way he grows is by playing through it, by taking the reps, by figuring it out the hard way. Still, you can't put it all on his shoulders. That's where the run game has to come back into focus. Right now, Chicago's rushing attack is among the least efficient in the NFL. We're talking about a bottom 3 team in EPA per run, with a success rate hovering around 26%. That is simply not good enough. You're asking a rookie quarterback to operate in 2nd and long or 3rd an impossible way too often, and that's not sustainable. What's even more frustrating is that the answers might already be in the building. Kalmanengai barely saw the field until the game was already out of reach. And even then, he looked like someone who can at least give you a spark. You drafted him for a reason, so why not use him? If Swift is struggling with ball security, or if he's not seeing the holes the right way, then give someone else a chance. Because it's not just about yards per carry. It's about tone. It's about establishing a rhythm. It's about making defenses respect the possibility of a run, so your quarterback isn't throwing into 7-man coverages all game long. And yes, I get it. The game script has forced their hand. When you're down by 3 touchdowns, you're not going to run the ball 25 times. But this coaching staff needs to do a better job of staying committed early. You have to establish something on the ground, even if it's not explosive, even if it's just grinding out 3 or 4 yards per carry. Because the more balanced you are, the better chance you have to sustain drives, protect the ball, and give your defense a breather. And right now, that defense desperately needs one. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Rumors are swirling in the NFL world after a recent controversial remark allegedly made by veteran broadcaster Joe Buck about the Chicago Bears. While the veteran announcer is known for his sharp commentary and occasionally candid takes, sources suggest that Buck didn't hold back his criticism this time. The remark, reportedly made during a casual segment that was not intended for wide broadcast, has set social media ablaze, with Bears fans reacting with a mix of disbelief and outrage. According to insiders, Buck's comment wasn't just a passing jab, but a pointed critique of the team's performance this season, particularly highlighting struggles in both offense and defense. It sounded harsher than anything he said on air, a source close to the network told us, adding that Buck supposedly questioned the team's strategic choices and implied that the Bears were far from championship material. Naturally, this has ignited a heated debate among fans, analysts, and former players. Some argue that Buck's honesty is a wake-up call for a franchise long criticized for inconsistency, while others see it as an unnecessary slight against a team still fighting for respect in a tough division. What makes this rumor even juicier is the timing. The Bears are reportedly in the middle of internal discussions about coaching decisions and potential roster moves, and a high-profile critique from someone like Buck could add fuel to the fire. Social media platforms have exploded with memes, threads, and speculation, as fans dissect every possible word he might have said. Even other commentators are reportedly weighing in, with some defending Buck's right to express an opinion and others accusing him of crossing a line. Whether Buck's alleged comment will affect his relationship with the Bears organization or influence fan perception remains unclear. However, in the world of NFL gossip, a remark like this rarely stays quiet for long. Bears supporters are bracing for a wave of headlines, while Buck himself has remained characteristically tight-lipped, leaving everyone to wonder whether this is a harmless rumor or the start of a new controversy that could echo throughout the season. One thing is certain. In the NFL, nothing sparks debate faster than a high-profile broadcaster taking a swipe at a beloved team. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.